All right. Let's see how quickly we can get through our second games of the day. We're going to do our next real-time simulation for the games of today. These are the matchups we're going to be seeing today. Cluckers are going to be at the Robins, Gaylord Perry versus Phil Necro. Armadillos are going to be over at the Mythics. That's going to be a Grace Tipton Dr. Dynastic matchup over there. Above me right here, we're going to be having the Goats at the Frogs. It's going to be Roaring Rory the Warrior versus Nick Jai. Across the way, we're going to be seeing the Giants versus the Coyotes. That's going to be Matessa Sturges. That's still so amazing to think that the Giants have Matessa Sturges as their number 2 pitcher versus Ray Tran of the Coyotes. Going down the list, we're going to have, of course, the Squirrels and the Ducks. That's going to be the Ducks at home. Omar Stefano versus Albert Shendog. Across the way, we're going to have Bingus, Mikabinga Bingus versus Shrek. And that's going to be the Nobles versus the Bears. That is absolutely going to be the Bears' game to lose. The Bears should absolutely own that ball game at this point. Right behind me, we're going to be having the Admirals at the Swatters. That's going to be Enrique Van Caliente versus Marky Dubois, or Dubois, as it's referred to as. And then across the way, we're going to have the Jazz after their shutout win up against the Ray Jones Reapers and their walk-off home run victory. And that's going to be Pedro Maddox versus Belinda Blumenthal. And then, of course, our last 4 games are going to be the Pioneers and Captains. Captains home, Rex Fuller versus Human. And then, of course, the Queens and the Ninjas are going across the way over there. Leah Wayne versus Ramona Bennett. That's another great one right there. That's got to be the Queens. That's got to be the Queens game to lose right about there. The Whistlers and the Apollos are going this afternoon as well. That's going to be Cy Young versus Darren Clapp. That's also going to be really, really good. Across the way, our final game of the afternoon in that direction, the Warlocks, who got shut out by the Jazz, are going to be away over at the Kings home site. That's going to be Hostess Twinkies versus Occam. So both of those 2 ball clubs are hoping to get a win for the first time. One of them will get it. Well, no, I'm sorry. They could tie. They technically could tie. That is true. We'll have to see how these ball games go. Everyone go ahead and get ready for your next real-time simulation. Let's go ahead and get this out here up on the screen so we can go ahead and pause that for a second. We'll have 4 ball games going right off the bat. That's going to be the Cluckers and Robins, the Armadillos and the Mythics, the Admirals and the Swatters, and the Jazz at the Reapers. Will stats be coming into Stats Plus soon? I can't wait to do some analysis. Once we are literally done with this real-time simulation EVC, I will throw I'll throw the update up. So as soon as we're done with this stream, I will throw that up before I have to leave for the evening for, it's a gig, it's a job, whatever you want to call it. But basically, I have some work to do. So, yay. All right, let's get started. You should be able to use the exact same link to be able to get to the real-time simulation. Let me put that into chat here really fast so you all have that really quickly. We do real-time simulations, which means that as we get the data uploaded, you guys can actually watch these games happen live and go in and take a look at the stuff as it's happening. Or you can just watch the stream as we look at it live right here. So, we've entered into the bottom of the first for a couple of ball games. Sorry, just for one ball game between the Jazz and the Reapers. Otherwise, couple of teams with people in scoring position so far. Let's go ahead and speed it up a little bit, shall we? Up to 20 on the factors at this point. Runner on second for the Admirals, runner on second for the Armadillos. And the Armadillos have actually doubled in that run. That's Jack Jr. doubling in Chesterfield, and Keisha Phillips singles in Kratz. And that's going to be 1-0 leads for the Armadillos and the Admirals. So good leads right there against the Swatters and the Mythics. Into the second innings for the Cluckers and the Robins and the Jazz and the Reapers. Otherwise, bottom of the first we go for the Swatters. They get a double by RJ Menard. A flyout, though, gives him the first out of the inning for Von Caliente. A Brenda Marquardt pop-up. That's a hard thing to do. Marquardt's a tough hitter, and now Lou Gehrig. You got back-to-back really elite people to get out, and Von Caliente gets the runner stranded at second as he gets Brenda Marquardt and Lou Gehrig to both be retired. That is a very tough thing to do right about there. Into the second inning we go. There is a run for the Robins. 2 runs for the Robins on a Fred Benson double and a Bobokin sacrifice fly scoring in Benson. So it's 2-0 Robins now against the Cluckers. That would be a debatable upset as well, although both of these teams are very, very good. This is, again, Phil Niekro versus Gaylord Perry. These are very good number 2 pitchers. This should be a very tight ball game all the way through. Into the third inning we go in that series. That's, of course, Phil Niekro pitching against the Cluckers offense. Otherwise, we've entered the third inning. Ooh, chance for the Mythics to score here in the bottom of the second, but they have 2 outs, and it's down to Donkey to be able to do it. And Donkey's gonna walk, and it'll be down to Villarta against Grace Tipton instead. Villarta, bases loaded, 2 down, full count, and a grand slam. Claudia Villarta hits a grand slam to give the Mythics 4 runs in the bottom of the second. We now have a 4-1 lead. That's a huge piece of hitting right there by the number 9 hitter of the Mythics. The Admirals have had a 2-run homer from Mickey Mantle to support their starting pitcher. And the Jazz have gotten a run on a wild pitch, scoring hitty ball. That's the Reapers, unfortunately, losing now 1-0. And the Robins have gotten a Cheryl Reynolds solo home run. They now lead 3-0 over the Cluckers. Dr. Dynastic has a 3-run lead now against the Armadillos. The Mythics loving the grand slam that came through right about there. That is fantastic. The Jazz scoring without a hit feels about right. Yep, that is absolutely what can happen here in the BYP. No hits, no problem. You can still get a run. Just get a walk, a couple wild pitches, or a balk or something like that. You're good to go. Roger Hornsby has scored Ray Jones the 8th on a single, and that ties up the ball game between the Jazz and the Reapers. The Cluckers have gotten a solo home run off of, solo homer from Susan Gore off of Phil Niekro. And they now have a 3-1 deficit to make up. And then across the board, we have more stuff happening. The Jazz have given up 3 more runs on a Bella Ray Jones double, scoring both Hornsby and Olofsson, and then a double by Cocoa Pebbles. Wow, the Reapers jumping all over the Jazz pitching staff right here. And it looks like they still have a runner on third base as well, with only 1 man down in the inning. So Cocoa Pebbles steals third base, and Morgana Roberts' walk has put them runners on the corner. We have runners on first and second for the Cluckers. They're still threatening against Niekro, but they strike out to end the inning. Roberts steals second. A wild pitch scores, who is it again now? Pebbles. And then a sacrifice fly scores Roberts. And the Reapers just will not stop. It's 6-1 Reapers against the Jazz. The Admirals and Swatters have absolutely gone quiet over there. They're going into the 5th inning. It's a 3-0 ball game versus the Admirals and Swatters at this point, so that's interesting. We have a 6-1 ball game between the Reapers and the Jazz, respectively. And then, of course, the Cluckers are losing to the Robins 3-1. They're in the top of the 5th. The Mythics did give up a homer just now to get off Milan, and it's now a 4-2 ball game, and now Jake Wilson adds a solo homer of his own, and it's now 4-3. The Armadillos coming back here in the top of the 5th. Speaking of runs, I think the Admirals got a run, but they haven't shown me how. Or is it always 4-0 and I'm just absolutely going star crazy now? All the deedles in the background from Discord is absolutely driving me insane, and I even have streamer mode turned on. I don't know why Discord thinks that I want to hear all the information going on. It needs to stop. Regardless, bottom of the 5th we go. The Swatters have got runners on first and second against Von Caliente. Chance to be able to get something started here, and Air gets them bases loaded. Oh, dear me. Bases loaded against Enrique Von Caliente, and Lou Gehrig does what Lou Gehrig does best. Grand slam, the second grand slam of the night in our day of games. And it's a tie ball game between the Swatters and the Admirals, 4-4. The Mythics have got runners on first and second, 1 down in the bottom of the 5th. They'd like to get their lead extended once again. They were only up by 1 run, or are only up by 1 run at this point. We've got the top of the 6th. Slow down. There we go. A 3-run home run by Eric Kelly. The Mythics take a 7-3 lead over the Armadillos. So they've had a grand slam and a 3-run homer for the Mythics offense. That is all they've had so far, but it has been more than enough. 7 runs is more than most people need to win ball games. So we do have a tie ball game at the Admirals, and Admirals and Swatters are still tied. The Reapers have just gotten a home run from Stan Olafson, and they now have a 7-1 lead in the bottom of the 5th. The Cluckers are down 3-2. They've got a runner on first base, but they are trailing the Robins, and they'll go to the bottom of the 6th. So the 6th inning for most of these ball clubs across the board. We've got a tie game between the Admirals and Swatters, still 4-4. They seem to score in bursts. As Henri Deschênes unlocks the ball game over there, it's now 5-4 Swatters. Hurricane has hit a home run, solo homer, for the Robins, his 2nd of the regular season, and that's now officially a 4-2 ball game for the Robins. Make it a 5-2 ball game. Jorge Garcia has added on his first home run of the season. It's now 5-2. 5-2 is the score over there. We've got a 5-4 ball game between the Swatters and the Admirals. We've got a 7-1 ball game between the Reapers and the Jazz, and a 7-3 ball game between the Mythics and the Armadillos. Bobokins has hit a 2-run homer, and the Robins have absolutely cracked this one wide open between them and the Cluckers. And Adam Dunkey has hit a 2-run homer for the Mythics, and they have now cracked this ball game wide open against the Armadillos. So we now officially have a 9-3 ball game, a 7-2 ball game, an 8-1 ball game, and a 5-4 score. And that, of course, is because Bubbles Ray Jones had hit a solo homer for the Reapers, making that one 8-1. So the offense is coming alive now for a lot of these ball clubs later in the ball games. We'll have to see if they continue on into the bullpens, and if the bullpens were too tired after games number 1. The Admirals have a chance to tie up the ball game, and they do. Keisha Phillips delivers an RBI single, and that scores Krotz. Archie scores on the Keisha Phillips single. The Admirals have tied up the ball game against the Swatters. It's now 5-5 over there. 5-5 is the score. Eric Kelly has doubled in Maria Luna. And we now have a double-digit game for the Mythics. It's 10-3. The Swatters have got runners on first and second. Nobody out. Prime opportunity for the Swatters. They have brought in Sparky Lyle. The Admirals have had Sparky Lyle in now for over an inning. He has gotten 2 back-to-back outs. And can the Swatters get something? Hannah Peavy singles in Lou Gehrig, and they take the lead 6-5. They'll head to the top of the 9th. Last chance for the Admirals to keep this game and try to get back into it. Time to see if the Admirals can get 1 run to keep this game in a at least tieable position. And they cannot. 3 quick outs. And the Swatters take down the Admirals 6-5. That is a huge win for the Swatters. That's a pretty strong Admirals team you just took down right there. Good job. Good job. Top of the 9th we go. The Robins have that 9-2 lead over the Cluckers. This would also be a bit of an upset. The Cluckers offense has just not gotten anything started so far in today's ball game. Cindy Cheng is in to close it for the Robins. They've got a runner on second base, 2 down, and Bob is up. Last hope for the Cluckers here, and he is retired. The Robins out-duel Gaylord Perry and the Cluckers 9-2. Big performance for the Robins offense. That answers a lot of questions that people might have had about the Robins. Wow. And I'll be completely honest, I like the Robins, but I thought the Cluckers were better. I would have put the Cluckers in a better spot than the Robins. Armadillos and Mythics into the top of the 9th they go. It's a pretty much sure-gone conclusion that both the Reapers and the Mythics at home are going to win. Oh my gosh, Discord, how many messages do I need to look at when I'm done here? Oh my goodness gracious me. The Reapers have gotten a 3-run homer after a double by Benihana scored in Ray Jones the 12th, and then the Reapers just tacking on extra insurance runs now just for the fun of it. Rogers Hornsby has hit a 3-run homer. You didn't have to do it this time. He did it last time to walk them off. This time it's just for the pleasure. And the Reapers have 12 runs against the Jazz. It's going to be 12-1 as we head into the top of the 9th. Last chance for the Jazz. Man, you know it must feel really, really bad when Billie Jean Blackwood is going to close the game against your ball club. You know you're in a bad spot when Billie Jean Blackwood is going to be the pitcher that's going to shut you down. Double play for Heather Quinn. The Reapers are 1 out away from being able to take a 2-0 start to the regular season. You know, I mentioned in our power rankings preview, I mentioned that the Reapers, if everything works out correctly, they can win ball games, okay? Like, sure, I admittedly put them what? I put them 24th in the power rankings. I think they're by far, they have the most weaknesses, but you know what? They're doing a good job so far. I can't see much about them that I don't like. They've done pretty good so far. Our next set of ball games are already popping off at this point. We've got a 1-0 lead, 1-1 tie between the Giants and Coyotes. That's a Nap Lajoie single. And then a boom, boom, boom McBroom solo homer tied up the ball game. We do have a double from Zenon Estrada that gave the Goats a lead, but then Cronus McBasketball hits his second homer of the regular season to give the Frogs a 2-1 lead against the Goats. Across the way, Jay Green has given the Captains a 1-0 lead with his solo homer, first of the season against the Pioneers. And we're all up to speed at this point. Let's go ahead and keep going. I gotta get a little bit faster here. I'd like to be done before the 30-minute mark. We keep going across the ball games. Into the second innings we go between all of these games. Runner on first for the Captains. Chance to get some more runs. And they will not. We'll head into the third inning for most of our ball games. The Frogs and Goats are taking their sweet time over there in the upper left-hand corner. Runners on second and third for the Queens. They'd like to jump out early here against the Ninjas. And they reach on an error, scoring Hugo, but a double play ends the inning. So Tom Warner does give the Queens a 1-0 lead, but they could have had a whole lot more, and only you can prevent wildfires doubles in Soaker, so much for that lead at this point. The Queens, unfortunately, now looking at a tie ball game as they'll head into the fourth, so we have that. Regardless, we wanted to get caught up on what had been happening in the real-time simulation. The Frogs had taken a 3-1 lead over the Goats with a Duncan Idaho sacrifice fly, and that was all we had been doing. We need more Kool-Aid and snack pack while we wait. Maybe I'll have that in the budget soon here. Dukeston. All right, let's keep going. We just need to get through these next, 8 ball games, basically, and then we're all done. So we should be good. All right. Super Soaker has given the Ninjas a 2-1 lead as Patterson scores on a single. So the Queens are down 2-1. The Frogs are up 3-1 over the Goats. That's an upset right there, too. I don't think the Frogs were that good at the beginning of the season. Wow, okay, the Queens have taken a 3-2 lead over the Ninjas on an error and a single. And they are still threatening in the top of the 5th with 2 on and nobody out. Chance for the Queens to really do some damage here. Pamela Kirkos has singled in Carlton Fisk. And they are now even going further into this one. They've got a balk that scores Henderson. The Goats have gotten a run on a grounder and a fielder's choice that has scored Corman. The Queens are put down in the top of the 5th, but they do score, I believe, 4 runs to take a 5-2 lead. The Captains have gotten a double by Jay Green that has scored Moreno, and they have a 4-0 lead. And make that a 6-0 lead on a Mikey Lowly 2-run homer. And then the Goats we're going too fast. Hold on one second. The Goats have gotten another run as they've gotten a single by Ben Sheets that has scored Cullen. Victor Hugo has singled in O'Connor for the Queens. They now lead 6-2. And the Coyotes have tied up the ball game on a Luann Louis double. Huge piece of hitting right there for Luann Louis. And they have tied up that ball game. The Frogs! Okay. The Frogs are now up 6-3 after a sacrifice fly and a wild pitch scores McLovin and St. Louis, and Wario has hit a homer, his second of the regular season, and it's now 6-3. Still a deficit to make up for the Ninjas, but not too bad. By the way, everybody, we have new emotes in the channel. If you were not aware, we actually have new emotes, and we have new team chants. If you type in your team name, ! and then your team name, you might be seeing that there's some new stuff going through in terms of some of the chants and stuff we've got. I don't know if I actually have the Ducks yet. The Ducks might be one of the only teams that actually does not have something set up correctly yet. Oh man, the internet's also still kind of having a bit of a problem. Good grief. Wow, the Ninjas have gotten a triple from Only You Can Prevent Forest Fires, and that has scored Patterson and Soaker. Okay, so a 6-5 lead now for the Queens. There are still some teams I need to get actual messages for, I believe, but I think we've gotten like almost half of the teams with actual chants. Stan Royal has singled in McKenzie. That's a 3-2 lead now for the... Wow, the Giants waited till the 9th inning to take a lead over the Coyotes. That game has advanced very quickly. Wow. So yes, we do have, of course, our new VTG emote, as well as the Mr. Clanky emotes. If you're interested in those are absolutely available now for some of them. Some of the emotes are now available for just following the channel, and some are available only if you subscribe. Let's catch up on what's been happening now officially across the game. So we had the Stan Royal single in the top of the 9th, giving the Giants a 3-2 lead over the Coyotes. That's a huge game right about there. And then the Queens are now up by 3 after a 2-run homer by Tom Warner has given them a pretty solid little lead over the Ninjas. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's slow it down a little bit, though. If your team isn't done yet, I'm not saying Alex has favorites, but, well, some of the teams are very easy to make chants or commands for, and then some, I want to throw it to the people who actually are in the channel for the team. They actually control them, or they're part of the fan base. I want them to have a little more control over whether or not they make a command and what that command says. It might be corruption. That is very true. It might just be corruption. That is very true. It might just be corruption. Alrighty. Bottom of the 9th we go between the Coyotes and the Giants. We're going to have Umberto Anders versus Boom Boom McBrooms. That's going to be the number 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Coyotes up here in the bottom of the 9th. They've got to come through right here and keep this game from being a loss. The Coyotes do not want to lose to the Giants. That would be a big loss. Boom Boom McBroom strikes out. Limited edition grounds out. It's going to be all down to Elwood Hayes against Anders. And there's a 1-1 pitch on the way, a 1-2 pitch on the way. Anders gets the out. A 3-2 victory for the Giants over the Coyotes, and that has given the Giants a win. The Coyotes are saddled with the loss. Pablo Sanchez has hit a 2-run homer for the Pioneers. They are now down 6-2 against the Captains as they go into the bottom of the 8th. And that is all the games updated at this point. Giants are a tough opponent for the Coyotes, especially with that number 2 starting matchup. That is true, Sergeant Mushroom. That is very true. They are a tough team. They will be a tough team for a long time. We are going to snooze our ad break one last time before we go ahead and end our stream, so don't worry about that. If your chant lasts longer than 8 hours, congratulations and see a doctor. Alrighty, let's go ahead and finish up these real-time simulations. We got a couple more games to play through still, so we gotta go faster. Top of the 8th we are between the Goats and Frogs and the Queens and the Ninjas. And the Ninjas are able to keep the Queens from scoring. Double for the Goats. They've got runners on 2nd and 3rd, and they advance on a wild pitch. And then a sacrifice fly has given the Goats now a 1-run deficit. So they're now down only 6-5. They'll head into maybe the bottom of the 8th. Yes, bottom of the 8th they go. Frogs have that 1-run lead. Top of the 9th, Pioneers are down to their final out, unfortunately, but a double by Hot and Chewy has given them a 3-run deficit. They've got a tying run at the plate, and Jocinda Smith, unfortunately, is retired. So the captains just needed Jocinda to get on base to get it to Pablo Sanchez. That would have been their best opportunity, but they will fall just short, and the captains will take that victory 6-3. Tom Warner has doubled in Ricky Henderson. It's now 9-5 lead in favor of the Queens, and they are threatening to score more here in the top of the 9th. Caught stealing second, though, is Pamela Kirkos. A wild pitch does score the Queens their 10th run of the evening, and Cool Talon, thank you so much for the follow. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for just working through the internet issues we've been having. I am so sorry. I will try more to figure out what's going on and get that resolved. Alpha Waymon did a solo homer for the Queens. They now lead 11-5. 11-5 is the game over there, and then the Goats have taken a 2-run lead. Marcellus Marks has hit a 3-run homer, and the Goats now lead 8-6 against the Frogs, and they'll head to the bottom of the 9th. Top of the 9th, that's ending it finally for the Queens. The Ninjas are finally able to get out of the top of the 9th. They'll head to the final 3 outs for them. And we'll see if they can get anything started here. Babe Ruth has doubled in Jay Mills for the Warlocks. And the Kings are now down 1-0. The bases are loaded for the Ninjas. Again, the bases are loaded for the Ninjas against Ronnie Dobbs, and Wade Beers has hit a grand slam. Oh boy. They have pulled Ronnie Dobbs. They are going to throw Jerry Mahoney. The Frogs lose their ball game 8-6 on the comeback victory for the Goats. Wario grounds out. Isaiah Patterson has tripled, though. They've got the tying run at first base now as Cake singles in Patterson. 1 down, runner on first base. They'd love to see a big win here for the Ninjas. Oh my goodness gracious me. Waluigi strikes out swinging. It's down to the final out. Super Soaker walks. Only you can prevent wildfires up next. Runners on first and second. 2 down in the inning. What can they do? And they are retired. The final out of the inning is recorded. The Queens take a 1-run victory. Wow. That is one you do not brag about at all. It is going to be an 11-10 final for the Queens over the Ninjas. The winner is Wayne, the loser is Ibushi. And that's just not one you want to brag about at all. That's barely a win. Barely a win at this point. The Whistlers have got a 3-0 lead over the Apollos in the top of the second as they go down to the bottom. 2 errors for the Apollos, by the way. The Kings have tied up the ball game on a wild pitch, scoring Dempsey. That is true, though. I'm talking Mushroom. A win is a win is a win. It's fine. The Nobles are looking to keep the Bears from scoring here in the bottom of the second, and they will. The Squirrels have scored on a balk, and that gives them a 1-0 lead over the Ducks. We'll see how the rest of the ball games play out across the league at this point. I'm going to have to speed it up a little bit, though. We are running out of time. Gigo W? Oh my gosh. That's great, kidneys. That is great. Couple runners on here across the games. Excuse me. David Dempsey, though, grounds to double play, and that retires the bottom of the third. So into the 4th inning we go for all of these 4 ball games. Nobles and Bears still locked up at 0 each. The Warriors, all right, I'm going to call them the Warriors too many times. The Warlocks have taken a 4-1 lead on a Princess Rosalina 2-run homer and a Best Dinosaur single. The Squirrels have also added to their lead with a sacrifice fly and a single. They now lead 3-0. So a big game over there between the Kings and the Warlocks and the Squirrels and the Ducks. The Bears are trying to score here in the bottom of the 4th. They've got runners on first and second. And they're going to have a relief pitcher coming in for the Nobles here in the bottom of the 4th. That's the Nobles' way of doing things. Oh boy, lots of stuff happening now across the games. We have a Sonia Hagen 3-run homer for the Ducks. That ties up the ball game. Timmy Unger has hit a solo homer against the Kings. That's for the Warlocks. And Slurp Master has hit a solo homer. So that's a couple of solo homers for the Warlocks at this point. My apologies about the ad break. I did not get that caught in time. Pablo Pierre has hit a sacrifice fly, scoring Roman a day for the Whistlers. They now lead 4-0. It'd be interesting to see what the AI sets for the Squirrels line up for Game 2. That's a great question. What did they do? Utley at center, Hoskins DH, Christopherson second, Cordwango at first, Chin, Knott, Chat, Wright, and Bunch. Yes. Beers hit a grand slam. Yes, he did, Mr. Audit. Yes, he did. Beamer Bird has singled in Josh Exley, and the Warlocks now have a 6-2 lead against the Kings. Tie games on our Neos Arc League games right now. Still scoreless with the Nobles and Bears. I almost called them something else. I don't know why. And then the Squirrels and Ducks are tied up at 3 in the bottom of the... And both games, actually, in the bottom of the 6th inning. Top of the 7th we go between the Whistlers and Apollos. That's now 5-0. Rosalina and Self for the Warlocks have extended their lead to 8-2. And the Whistlers are pummeling the Apollos now. A wild pitch scored Roman a day, and now a 2-run homer for Chris Jimenez has given them a 7-0 lead. The Nobles score first against the Bears. It's going to be a double by Buck Cheeks and a single by Stuart Sullivan. So the corruption is well. The corruption is alive and well at Paseo Stadium. Cars for Kids, grounds will play. The Apollos now have a run. It's now 7-1, still in favor of the Whistlers right now. Well, the Nobles' best strength is their bullpen, so if you don't have a lead by the 7th or 8th inning, you're just asking to lose to the Nobles at this point. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. David Dempsey has hit a 2-run homer for the Kings. They are now down 8-4 against the Warlocks. The runners have advanced on a wild pitch, giving the Squirrels a 1-run lead. We are into the 9th inning. 9th inning we go between the Nobles and the Bears. Also, the Whistlers and the Apollos into the 9th inning as well. Squirrels and Ducks are tied up in the 8th inning after a Sophie Mayer single scores in Duck Duck McDuck. And the Warlocks continue to add on runs against the Kings. Slurp Master has hit his second home run of the ball game after a Babe Ruth double scored Timmy Unger. So it's a 10-4 game over there. 2-0 for the Nobles over the Bears. They almost scored here in the top of the 9th as well. Bottom of the 9th we go. The Bears need 2 runs to stave off a loss to the Nobles. They would never let that down. The Whistlers take down the Apollos 7-1. That's the winner being Cy Young, loser being Clapp. 2 down. Hellerman looking to close out the Bears. Runner on first base after a single. Mike Trout's on first, and there it is, the 2-run homer. The Nobles cannot win a game to save their lives. A huge home run by Mashin' Taters, and they will go to extra innings. Extra innings for the Nobles and the Bears. It's going to be a 2-2 game. Into the top of the 10th they go. 2 outs, runner on third base. Can the Nobles get a run? The answer is... probably no. And the answer is no. So it will be down to the Bears if they want to win this ball game. Runner on second. Let's see if Hellerman is still going to be pitching. Wow. So the Nobles elect to let Hellerman continue to pitch. She strikes out backstop. She's up against Giesling. Kirby Giesling strikes out. It's down to Vinny. Vinny is the hope for the Bears. Can they get a run? No. Of course the answer is no. Of course the Nobles can't win, but of course they also can't lose. Across the games in the rest of our situations, we've got a 10-8 lead for the Warlocks and an 11-4 lead for the Squirrels. Oh, man, I feel really bad for the Nobles. I mean, why are they tying? At least they're tying, they're not losing, but still, you gotta be winning these ball games. You're leading 2-0 with the final batter at the plate. You gotta win those games. Regardless, the Warlocks threatening to give their game away as well, as Beamer Bird has doubled. They've got runners on second and third for the Kings. A ground out scores one. They just need one more out to be able to take a victory against the Kings, but it's Joe Crape versus Chad Koppel, and it is going to be an out. So the Warlocks do manage to take their lead and their win to the bank. 10-9 is the final score. The Ducks have been threatening to beat the Squirrels as well. 11-8 is the score over there. In fact, the Ducks ended up having to, they've added on to that game. They've scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th, but they will fall short. Goose McGoose's 3-run homer is in vain as the Ducks fall to the Squirrels 11-8. And those are our final scores for the afternoon. Cy Young with a complete game. Not a shutout, but it was a 7-1 victory for the Whistlers. Jorge Garcia has a 2-run home run performance for the Robins. And Lou Gehrig hits that grand slam for the Swatters, I believe. Huge day for Lou Gehrig and the Swatters, taking down their opposing team that was the Admirals. 6-5. So, these are the standings for the BYP after week 1. Congratulations to everyone who won 2 games. I was not expecting the Reapers to be a team that wins 2 games in the first week, but I was expecting the Queens to be on that list. We've had some excellent ball games so far. The Nobles have tied twice, which I was not expecting, and I'm not happy, but we'll see how it goes. Nobles 0-2 to begin the season. The Reapers 2-0-0. Swatters 2-0-0. Pioneers, unfortunately, one of our 3 teams to go 0-2 to start off the regular season. The Ninjas and the Kings also on that list. We'll have to see what happens for week number 2, which we will be advancing on to very soon. I will get the Stats Plus updated. Otherwise, before the internet drops again, everybody, thank you so much for being here for this quick real-time